Thought I'd make a new video. This one on my Tex Instruments TI-99 4A computer. I actually have two of them. I won this one just recently on eBay for $20.50. I couldn't pass that up. It's really a nice looking machine. My original one I have is from 1980 and I still have that one. But the computer is just a really nice looking machine. It's the chrome and the black looks great. Now the TI-99 4A computer is the second model. The TI-994 was the first version. It had a chiclet style keyboard and a slightly different video chip inside. It even had a headphone out jack built on the front. It was more for educational. But a lot of people really didn't like that keyboard, so they came up with this 4A version. They also upgraded the graphics chip in it as well. It came standard with 16K of RAM, and it was expandable. Now the TI-99 4A and the video chip in this little bad boy really went pretty far, because not only was it in the TI computers, but later the Colecovision used pretty much the same video chip in its computer. The MXX computers and the Sega SG-1000, I believe, all used the same video chip, or the basic derivative of the same video chip in the TI-99 4A. The computer, again, is very well built. They weren't cheap to manufacture. TI always built in quality over, I guess, quantity or price. But when the Commodore 64 came out and was starting to blow everything out, they were taking a huge loss on this version. They came out with a redesigned version that was like gray plastic. And then they even did a lockout chip for companies like Atari, who were making actually really good ports. I mean, I think all the Atari ports for the TI are fantastic, and TI didn't like that, so they actually put a lockout chip, which was kind of stupid because, as we all know, third-party support, more programs you make is what sells the computers, and TI didn't really get that back in the day. They really wanted to make everything themselves. The TI had a lot of firsts. Again, the TI-99 4A actually was the first 16-bit home computer, sort of. This was originally designed to be an 8-bit machine, and they were designing a custom 8-bit processor, but they were so far behind, they decided to use one of their 16-bit processors. So they dumped that in here, and you would think that would be a good thing, but in all honesty, to make that 16-bit processor work on this 8-bit design, there was a lot of glue logic that had to be put in place here, and it really, honestly, slowed the machine up a lot. It wasn't the fastest machine. Even when you went down to the assembly language code and wrote directly to the hardware, it could have been a lot better than it ended up being. It's still a fantastic machine. I love it. It's my first real computer I'd gotten, and I liked it. I learned to program, made my own version of Donkey Kong, which maybe I'll show you one day. But just the fact that it was done the way they did it really slowed it down. This machine was designed to daisy chain peripherals on the side, and you can see here, speech synthesizer, and Tex Instruments was a pioneer in speech synthesis. And this was really designed to daisy chain across, but they were starting having problems with, first of all, being like 3 or 4 feet long, having all the peripherals on it. But you'd touch it, it could cause it to crash because of bad contacts. So TI eventually came out with this beast, the TI-99 4A peripheral expansion box. And this thing, honestly, this is probably what Indiana Jones should have climbed into in his last movie. He definitely survived that nuclear bomb blast. This thing is built like nothing else. It's a Sherman tank for computers. And inside here I have just the cable card, which basically lets you connect it to your TI. I have a 32K RAM expansion in here, an RS-232 expansion, and a disk drive controller, all in here. The TI had a lot of other things that were really, I don't say first, but they had some ingenious items on it. The Super Sketch, this thing was actually made for a couple of different computers. I think you could even have gotten it for the ColecoVision. But basically, you would put this cartridge inside your TI, and you could put paper here, and you can trace with the stylus here, and it would draw right on your computer screen whatever you did here. You had all different functions. You can lift, select, get to the main menu. It was a kind of a neat thing. You could put actually a pen or pencil in here with real paper and just draw, and you can design things on it. It was kind of neat. It was kind of stiff when you drew. It was hard to get like circles. There was a lot of straight lines. But back in the day, it was still something that was really pretty cool to have. Another really neat device was the Mdx Expansion Module. Now this originally was supposed to be its own gaming system, but you can find more stuff about that on the internet. But this basically allowed you to do voice recognition with your Tex Instruments TI-99 4A. It came with this huge keypad here. like a huge overlay, like you have like in television or Colecovision, earphones with a microphone on it, an analog joystick with a paddle, and 3 buttons here and a trigger button. And basically you could play games, and not only can you have speech synthesis come out of it, but you can give commands, and the machine would respond to them. Now, it wasn't true voice recognition. Basically, when the game started, you spoke certain commands, and it basically learned those particular waveforms. So as long as you spoke in the same fashion, the unit would recognize it. Now, I'll do a video on the Mdx expansion a little bit later. I know VectrexRoli did a really nice video on his, and also do one on the Super Sketch later on. But let me get to the point of this particular video. And I also apologize real quickly. I could not get the composite to work directly, so it's going right now through RF. But still, the picture looks pretty good. So, you know, just like any computer in the day, you got cartridges like this, and the TI was fine with you taking the cartridge and putting it in, put the power on, and you just hit any key, and you can load your game. And you know, Donkey Kong is one of my favorite games, and they did a really good port here from Atari. But sometimes it's a lot on old hardware to constantly take things in and out. And actually, I had purchased back in the day one of these little devices will let you plug multiple cartridges in at once. But what could be even better than that? How about a multi-cart? And that's really what I want to talk about today. There's a gentleman on Atariage, and I'll have links to it down below, who actually makes a bunch of different multi-carts. Now, these are just 2 of the ones he makes. He makes a lot of other ones. These have games on them. He makes ones with utilities. But let's take a look. One is the 1024K and one's the 2048K. The only real difference is how many of the ROMs that are on it. I actually don't know the total number of ROMs on it, but I do know there's quite a bit on the 1024, and there's even more on the 2048. So let's go have a look at them. So we'll put these down right here, nice and safely. And we're going to plug in our first cartridge. Pop it in, and let's get that focused a little bit better. Hit any key, and sometimes with these old computers, you have to reset it. Let's see if it took it that time. It did not. So I'm going to turn the power off, back on, and that'll make it work, and it did not. Isn't that fun? Gotta like these old machines. Let's try that again. Just like the old games, sometimes you have to clean it with a little alcohol, rubbing alcohol, but we're good now, fellas. So we have our Rti Basic, which was a very slow, bad version of Basic, and then 2 for games. And you come up to a main list here, and these are basically originally ROM cartridges for the TI, basically put on this list. Now, these cartridges, both of them, require 32K RAM expansion. It will not work in a standard 16K TI, so you have to have some form of RAM expansion in the unit. But let's see, Alpiner was a good game. Beyond Parsec, press I, which was a sequel to Parsec. And now for me to start this game, you can play it with the keyboard, but I actually am going to use this little device here, and it basically turns the TI's proprietary port, which looks like an Atari one, to allow real Atari controllers. Now I had this, and obviously I took it apart as a kid. I always wanted to know how things worked. So this just plugs into the side of your TI, like so. And you can now use standard Atari joysticks, but I always tended to use, when I could, the Sega gamepad. I just seemed to like it a little bit more. So we're going to press any key to continue. And again, I'm only doing it one-handed, so don't expect very good gameplay. So basically here, your job is to go around and shoot the other ship. You know, nothing spectacular. But, you know, not bad. $35 on a multi-card, I'll take it. Now with the multi-card, a lot of times you do have to power off and power back on because it loads the games into the 32K of RAM. And here we go. So let's pick another game on here and see what we have here. Hunt the Wumpus, Hustle, both very good games. Now there's a version of Kaboom on here, which, well, let's just say it's not as good as the original Activision version. Munchman, which was a classic for the TI. Let's see what else we have on here. Well, let's go. Soundtrack Trolley is a game for the Mdx Expansion Superfly. So let's just pick one that I know everyone's going to remember, which would be Munchman. Yeah, if I can find you on here now. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I passed it. It's time to get some good video editing software. So I'm going to pick M. And here's good old Munchman. I am ready. Now he makes cartridges also have just like all the Atari soft games, including a couple of unreleased Atari soft games. He has a multi-cart with a bunch of utilities on it. He's got a lot of different ones, but I'm going to pull this cartridge out now and take a look at the 2048K version of his cartridge. So I'm going to hit the little reset button on here, pull that cartridge out. I didn't clean this one, but I didn't think I need to, so let's just put it right in. And it recognized it, which is great. So we see you have Amazing, which was a very early game. That's one of the first ones I played as a kid. Black Hole, Blackjack, Blasto, another good game from back in the day. Buck Rogers was a very good port. There's Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom, I believe. Oh, yeah. Yeah, one-handed these games are impossible. I need to have a third hand. So we have Burger Time on here, Connect 4, Computer War, Demon Attack, and Defender. Again, Atari Soft Defender is excellent on this. Dig Dug, Donkey Kong, E.T. Oh, thank goodness, not the Atari 2600 version of E.T. It's a different version. Football, and I never really cared for the TI football. It was kind of lame, in my opinion. Guardian, Hangman, Hopper, Jawbreaker, Jungle Hunt, again a great game. Atari Soft, fantastic. These guys did a great job. Midnight Mansion is almost like a Lode Runner rip-off with ghosts, but it was a pretty fun game. Meteor Belt, again for the Mdx Expansion. MASH is a game that apparently is very good. I haven't played it, but a lot of people seem to think it's a really, really good game. Miner 2049er, Moon Patrol, Moonsweeper, Ms. Pac-Man, Munchman, and Munchman 2. Again, Munchman 2 is just basically Munchman, some different mazes in it, but the real difference is now you're eating the chain versus laying it out to make it more like Pac-Man itself. And to be honest, as a kid, this is what I really had wanted back in the day. But to be honest, if I'm going to say what I really wanted back in the day, it would have been the real version of Pac-Man. And thankfully Atari Soft had come through, and it is actually on this cartridge. Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man are both on here. Popeye is a good rendition as well. Q*bert, very, very good game. Soccer was kind of lame. I used to play a lot as a kid, but again, it was pretty poor, especially with the joysticks I had back in the day with the TI's version of the joysticks. So that's it. So there's quite a few games in here. Again, for $35, you know, it's really, really a bargain, to be quite honest. Again, I'll have the links below to the gentleman. He's a really nice guy. He's just doing it really to help the community. He's not doing it to make a ton of money, but he really did build a really nice cartridge in here. And again, for the most part, you can leave one or two of these in at one time and save your cartridge connector. And that's really it. There's not too many people to make multi-carts for the TI, and he has quite a few of them. So again, I'll put the links below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I apologize for my kind of very simplistic video style, but I'll try and get better video editing software and a tripod and other things in the future. But again, I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave any comments below. It's always appreciated. Everyone here on the forums are great, and I really enjoy doing this for everyone, and I hope you have a great night.